Things are starting to heat up. With the release of TBC pre-patch, I've continued to level in the background. All of our original classes have reached the first goal of level 10, and now we finally get a look at how the rogue has been doing in TBC MEGA Hardcore. I want to start out by pointing out something I'm going to be doing on every character. Money is important, but so is bag space, so on all my characters I decided to fill bag slots with cheap 6-slot bags. When I loot better ones, I'll upgrade, but I'll take a temporary money loss for the extra space. Any 6-slot bags I do loot are gonna go to the Paladin and Shaman once they get created. This is the earliest surviving footage of the Rogue, starting at level 11. Level 12 being the minimum goal to reach before moving on to a zone like Silver Pine Forest. So I'm making great pace in that regard, with a likely chance that I'll hit level 13 in this zone. To achieve that, I head over to the big ol' farm south of Brill, where I farm, pun fully intended, a bunch of zombies and ghosts. This would honestly be a pretty good mob grinding spot, so I'll have to keep that tucked away in my mind if I ever need it. While I'm completing the quest tied to this farm, I remember to actually add my abilities to my bar. The downside of leveling every character at once is forgetting if I have everything I need, whether that be abilities on my bar, quests that I've done, or similar things to that. Up a hill from the farm lies a concentration of Scarlet Brotherhood. The main target of this quest is their captain who has a bodyguard with him, but hot dang is my rogue frying at this level. In this challenge, one of the rules states that my characters can trade items between themselves as long as they are sent with the intention to be used. My rogue has gotten a dagger from Tammy the Priest and a sword that I either looted or was sent by Big Gertha, I forget which. For a martial class, the weapon can make or break your character's power, so I can consistently handle multiple enemies at a time at this moment. Pulls that would be lethal for one of my other characters. Evasion also helps, but it's the damage that is doing most of the carrying. After finishing up with the Scarlet Brotherhood, I continue east to pick up some spider venom. So far, I have 2 talent points into reducing the energy cost of Sinister Strike, meaning I can pull more often, but that only helps so much when these spiders keep using up all their venom on me. They're absolutely vicious, I tell you. Eventually I get the 4 vials I need and I head back to Brill. Turning in the 3 quests awards me level 12 and then some, while still leaving a few quests here in Tears Fall to get ahead of the curve. That's gonna take me a bit to do, however, as the quests I have left are decently spread apart, but I do my best to group them as much as I can and create an efficient path. Starting with a quest all about getting a lich back in business. The chain involves a lot of walking, so I just collect the first objective and get on my way. Continuing deeper in the zone, I head towards a quest that calls for another assassination. Once again, a Scarlet Brotherhood captain, but before I get to him, I'm ambushed by his goons and have to waste my sprint to get away. Seeing as I can't just run there without having enemies to my back, I begin methodically pulling the Brotherhood, picking them off one by one until I'm at the entrance of the tower where the captain is hiding. Thankfully, I still have my evasion, so the actual fight is a cakewalk. Despite having 2 guards with him this time, I never even drop below the danger zone of my health bar, after which I clean up a little more Brotherhood cronies before hearthing back to Brill. Turning in the quest puts me halfway to 13. Then it's time for a long walk north to put some angry ancestors to rest. They must be upset that I'm making videos on the internet instead of working in the coal mines my whole life. But they just don't understand it's a real career whaling ancestor number 7. The quest calls for 8 of each and the skull of Dargol, whoever that is. He must be pretty powerful though, as I get here as he's annihilating a torrent. I do my best to save the cow, but Dargol is left at literally 1 HP. This turns him red to me again, giving me the quest credit. Tough luck for the cow, but it sure saves me some time waiting for his respawn. I'm sure he's fine, he's not the one doing the hardcore challenge here. I take my victory jog back to Brill once again, getting a speck of XP away from level 13, which I ding while turning in the first part of the rogue quest that I have. The next part of the Lich quest is here in Undercity as well, hence why I plan to do them at the same time. The Lich quest is a bit of a back and forth between the Undercity and that island. Swimming back, I actually make contact with Gunther, who I totally didn't steal a book from last time I was here, and he was right there. He asked me to destroy a ghost nearby that works for the Scourge. The summoning and defeating are over in about the same time, dispatching her easily like the rest of the targets that I've done today. Apparently that's all it takes to earn his trust, as I have to go all the way back to the Undercity to deliver the good news. That reunites the Liches and marks the end of my time in Tears Fall on my rogue, only having 2 quests in my logbook left. Both of them are sending me in the same direction, Silver Pine Forest. But we're gonna head down south, way south, to catch up with what Slammy Hammy has been doing in Elwyn Forest. The latter part of Elwyn Forest has a fair few dangers to be careful of, all of which I still have to conquer before heading on to Westfall, starting with the local Murloc threat. The main issue with these guys is their healing and close proximity to each other, making accidental double pulls easy and long pulls plentiful. However, there is a solution in the form of luck, like looting a green two-handed sword from one of the Murlocs themselves. A sword that more than doubles the DPS of what I was using, plus adding on an extra 6 attack power on top of it. As soon as I loot that, I make my way over to Stormwind to get the proper training, which is 100% worth the punch it brings to my wallet, and the time it takes to catch my weapon skill up to my level. It's a whole different story when I return to those Murlocs, with crits that can nearly take half their HP off in a single swing. However, there's also more people here than when I left for Stormwind, so I decide to head up the lake a bit to a secondary spot that has plenty of Murlocs. It's also a bit populated by players, so I have to be extra risky with the pulls to get my fair share. But with my new weapon, the double pulls aren't a big issue. That is, until a Murloc spawns right next to me in the middle of a long duel.
Health warning.
Being a bit more careful after that, I'm able to collect the fins that are required for this quest. And by the time I turn it in, the entire quest gives me 3/4 of a level thanks to the rested XP I had stored up. The next quest is very nearby and I was feeling very confident with my plan. I was sure I had enough DPS to burst down Princess and get the heck out of there.
Need more rage. Health warning. Health warning.
I should have just trusted my plan, but I panicked and wasted a healing pot. Better safe than sorry though as I head back to Goldshire and the farms. Sadly, it's still not enough XP to fully level me, leading to a fateful encounter with a drunk guy in a bar who hits like an absolute truck.
It's too far away. Not enough rage. Health warning.
My survival awards me with level 7 and a trip back into the forest, to a little Defias camp that harbors a weird dentist. This quest calls for opening a lockbox, whose key is held by the weird dentist. It's a good bit of extra XP, but the reward at the end doesn't help me much, just a bunch of green one-handers on offer. Good to know for a future warrior, but I don't need it for now. After accepting the most expensive one, I put on my cross-country shoes, walking all the way to the other side of the forest, a place that is literally called Forest's Edge, where I pick up a familiar-looking quest. If you think about it, armbands are just bandanas that you wear on your arm, right? Perhaps the Defias Brotherhood are having more of an influence on the gnolls than one might think. They are definitely having an influence on the drop rate, holy moly. I skirt around the entire edge of Forest Edge and I still only collect half of what I need before doing an entire loop. Maybe they're just hard to see right now, it is kinda getting dark out. It does mean that there's plenty of gnolls to fight, so I'm not gonna complain too much. In the end, it mirrors the Murloc quest, leaving just a quarter of a level to get by the time I turn it in. And seeing as I'm nowhere near strong enough to take Hogger mano a mano, I head into Westfall a bit early. I do have some quests here to turn in, so I'm mostly still on track with my level 12 goal before starting here, as after I clean my bags and a bit of talking, I grind the rest of the way to leveling, at the cost of a bit of tetanus. Level 12 is the last point I need to max out Improved Rend, which will have mixed uses in Westfall thanks to all the robots invading the fields. But that's a hurdle for another day as we go to check on what Cal Kestis has been doing in Mulgore. In getting to level 10, I had finished all the quests south of Bloodhoof Village, so it was time to head north, hoping to squeeze out as many levels as I could. I start with the second Poisoned Well. I'd say I'm not sure how the Horde is tolerating the Venture Co. if they're doing stuff like this, but clearly they aren't if we're in open conflict with them. After cleansing the well, I head towards Thunderbluff, completing the Visions quest along the way. It's not much of a cave, but it counts towards the cave counter. In Thunderbluff, I pick up the next part of my Bear Form quest and port to Moonglade, raid, where I talk to a bear thing and make a very poor decision to take the flight path all the way back to Mulgore, which takes 20 minutes and I could have just used my Hearthstone instead. I decide that I should take my not very existent anchor out on these dwarves. This quest calls for breaking tools, so it'd be the perfect outlet for whatever it is I have pent up. Perhaps it fuels my skills as things go pretty smoothly here despite the healing mobs. After which I head back to Bloodhoof Village to turn things in, leaving me once again only a quarter of a level to get. That sets me up well while doing this Harpy quest because I sure as heck know it's not going to be a good drop rate. Which I was correct, as I have only 4 out of the 12 feathers by the time I ding 11. On the bright side, I still have a good amount of rested XP left, which means by the time I do get all the feathers I need, I have 5 extra bars of XP. Things could be described as cruising right now. My luck continues when I find Ghost Howl on my way to the other quests in the area. He drops an extra quest to be turned in, so I decide to double up and head back to Thunderbluff, where I clear my bag and turn in those quests. Next on the list is the collection of claws and teeth from local wildlife, during which I run into another elite that drops a sick chest piece, giving me a whole extra 1 int. The spirits really do favor me today, which turns out to be pretty true, as after I collect all the claws and teeth I need, talking to this ancestor here levels me up to level 12, with plenty more quests to do here in Mulgore. This other cow invites me to a group to get a local Quillbore quest done, and once I complete it, that'll make 5 whole quests to turn in. I probably could have done this quest on my own, but he didn't have too many left, so that's fine anyways. One of the 5 turn-ins continues my bear quest. This was my first time playing a Tauren Druid, so I had no idea where I was supposed to go, as the questing marking wasn't super clear, but the investigation breathes added caution as I spot a level 20 Thunder Kodo near my objective, which spawns a chicken for some reason. The stone, not the Kodo. But I guess this is some kind of rock, paper, scissors situation. To be a bear, you must beat a chicken. They're the experts, not me though. All I know is that when I hearth back to Thunderbluff, I get my bear form. So that has to be how it works. The home stretch of Mulgore sees me cleanse one final well, then hunt for a big ol' Kodo. For some reason, this quest is marked as level 14, even though the Kodo himself is level 11. Probably because he's a pretty big boy. By the time I turn the quest in, I'm well over halfway to level 13, and turning in the well quest when I get back to Bloodhoof gets me 2.5 bars from that goal, meaning a nice walk through the crossroads and some plain strider farming is all it takes to hit an entire level above my goal. I'm happy with leaving a starting zone by level 12, but leaving by level 13 is immaculate, and we managed to do it twice today. However, that is the last quest for today. I'm working on getting these out as fast as I can while still making them good, on top of leveling again. With the current trajectory, these videos will eventually catch up to where I'm at in the challenge, so we'll see how that affects things. Thank you so much for watching this far. If you enjoyed, hit that like button. If you want to see more, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. There will be at least one of these videos a week, but I'm shooting for 2. However, I'll see you in the next video. My name has been Kale. Have a wonderful journey.